Hi, this is Dana with Dana Digital Tutorials. And you may have heard of Canva's magic text feature where you can edit text and are wondering if you can do this in Photoshop. Well, the answer is sort of. I'm going to show you a way to select text without selecting all the background and use generative fill to erase the text. Then you can use the text feature to pick your font and your new text style to replace it with. So we're going to, sorry about that. We're going to first come over to the magic wand and we're going to click and hold and we're going to use the object selection tool. What this does is it kind of looks at the different parts and says, this is what I think you're trying to select. It is not perfect, but when I come over to this area, I can see it's trying to select the whole box. I don't want to select the whole box because I want the generative fill to understand that I want to only replace the text. I want to leave areas in here that are correct to give it as much data as possible to be able to use the generative fill with the best accurate results I can. So if I ignore these pink boxes and I just drag like this, it's going to recognize that I don't want the whole box and I just want the text. If I were to replace just like this, I'll go ahead and do it for you. We're going to run into problems for two reasons. Number one, when you use the object selection tool, it kind of leaves a fuzzy white pixel on the edge that you're not seeing. So it's trying to replace only on the inside of that fuzzy white pixel, and it's not going to give you good results. As you can see, none of these turned out the way I want. So let me undo. And what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to go up to, after I've selected with my object selection, I'm going to go to Select, Modify, Expand. And I probably need about a 15 here. Well, I know I could use a tool to just go around and drag, but if this is a very ornate text, this makes a much quicker selection. But also by not selecting these areas in here, I'm reminding Photoshop that I don't want you to delete the pink box. Instead, I just want you to delete the text. So now if we go up to Edit, Generative Fill, it should do a much better job. Sometimes Photoshop has a mind of its own, and I can see here it's done fairly well. I may need to clean up some areas. Well, here it's done a very clean job, but it's added a handle, and maybe I do like that, maybe I don't. But if I'm having issues like this, then I'm just going to go ahead and select this area, and I'm on my magic wand, so it selected this layer here. So let's undo that, and let's go to our marquee tool, which is M for short, but it's right up here. And let's just go ahead and select this area that it did a poor job on, and we'll go ahead and erase. And because there's no text here now, it understands I'm just asking it to smooth it out. Hopefully we'll get a much better job, and we can see we're still struggling. But this is just part of Photoshop. It's not a big deal. We just keep going until we get what we want. It takes a couple of generations, but once you're used to this, this is very fast. And now you can see that we are running into the solid area, or this little line. I don't believe that's really going to be an issue once you add your new text. So let's go ahead and add our new text. Let's select our color first. And I'm just going to add a plain text, but you can pick any font that you want. And then I'm going to hit enter, and I'm just going to expand it out. I don't often pick my font size. I just type the way I want, and then I just stretch it out. Maybe I want this one to be bigger, so I'll come up here, and you can drag, by the way, right here. Let me redo that. I think I went a little fast, so let's delete that. When I'm creating text, I like to just come in here and drag a box and just type what I want. If I want a shorter word to be the same size, I'm going to select it. I just double clicked, and I'm going to change that font. You can come in here and pick a font, but I find it's much more precise and easy to just hover over that T and drag until you get it about the right size. And then I'm going to hit enter. And actually you have to hit Command or Control Enter. But if I want to resize this box first, it might be easier. So I went back in, resize my box, Command or Control Enter. And now I'm going to do Command or Control T. And I'm just going to resize it. This is much easier than trying to pick the right font size when you're typing in your font. Now, I can change this font, I can do all kinds of things. I'll put a link in the video on working with text that's going to go a lot faster, because this video is more about how to get rid of the old text, but this is a way to quickly erase text. Let's work on another image that's a little more detailed. So I have a lot of scrolly font in here, and this is one where I would not want to go draw around it, and I don't want to delete the white. So I'm going to use the magic object selection, and as you can see, it's trying to pick the white. I don't want it to do that. So if I come in here and I kind of select this whole area, I can see now that it is picking all of the black font, and it's not picking the white. Again, I'm going to want to go up to Select, Modify, Expand, and 15 may be too much, but we can just hit Enter. If we feel that's too much, we can undo it and pick a different pixel amount. We're going to go to Edit, Generative Fill. Now sometimes I find that when I'm replacing with this in the white, that it gives me that mottled background issue that I was having, and if that's the case, I'll show you another option. But here it's done a beautiful job. If I hide that, let me get off of that so the pink stops showing up. If we zoom in, you can see that was already there, and it's just adding a little bit more of that, so you'd want to clean it up. But what if it's not giving you a clean result like this? Let's undo, and we're going to undo that generative fill. So I just hit Command or Control Z until I got where I wanted. Another option is to just come in here if it's a solid background, click New in your Layers panel down here. If you don't see your Layers panel, you'll have to go to Window and just make sure the box is checked. And it may not be in the same space. You can customize this. I do have a video on customizing your workspace as well. We're going to click plus, and then we're going to use the paint bucket. If you don't see your paint bucket over here, it may be hidden inside the gradient tool, just like the object selection was hidden. So we want the paint bucket. G is the shortcut for that. We're going to pick a color from our background. Remember, this only works on a solid background. And then we're just going to fill this area. I'm going to undo Command or Control D to get rid of the selection, and now you can see it's filled it with a solid white. So there's two ways that you can replace the background, and then you can just add your own text. Let's do one more, and this one is a little more tricky because you don't realize at first, but if you zoom in, you're going to see the shadow here, and you see it how far out that shadow comes. We're going to want to make sure that we select that whole area. So W, it's going to remember I was on my object selection. So if you're looking for your magic wand in the future, remember it's hidden under your object selection. And we're just going to select this whole area and see what it does. It did a really good job. I did notice, by the way, that just it automatically did a really good job selecting that area. But if we zoom back in, you can see the shadow is not selected. I'm getting closer so I can see it, but I can really see it from here. It's just habit. So we would want to go up to Select, Modify, Expand, and I do believe 25 was about right. And yes, I can see that my shadow is fully selected. So that fill would not work here because we don't have a solid background, so we definitely want to use the generative fill. Edit, generative fill, and it should do a fairly good job. If you want this pink to go away, you just have to get out of that tool. So we're waiting for it to finish, and now I can see it's done a great job. and I can add my own text. Obviously that text was really good and I don't really want to delete it, but I just wanted to show you how to do it if it has an error. And if you did these images in Midjourney, maybe watch my editor video and it will show you how you can edit right in Midjourney and bypass this whole issue altogether. And let's see here. So then you would just come in and you would type your new text. You would want to flatten this as well. So go to Layer, Flatten Image, and now we all have one layer, and we want to go to our text feature and we would just type. I'm going to go back a couple of steps though to make sure that I did that clearly for you. So let's go back and let's unselect this area. The two ways to select with Object Selection Tool, I'm going to hit W, is sometimes it selects what you want. You can click. If you have Add to Selection up here, you can just keep clicking until you get all your selections. Or you can drag like this, just click and drag over the area you want it to select your text, and it will work that way as well. So this is an easy way to get rid of text while maintaining the integrity of what's behind it. Not quite as fast as the Canva replace text, but if you don't have Canva, this is how you would do it in Photoshop. This is Dana with Dana Digital Tutorials. Have a great day.